I have Dutch Mantell with me. We're going to be talking a little bit about the SportsKeeda Awards. You do work with SportsKeeda. You're part of the panel, but you debuted in the wrestling business in 1972, if I have this correct. So 50 years.
Please. Yeah, a long time.
50 years, it's a milestone year.
How old are you?
I am 30. Okay, I have to think about this. I'm 36. I will be 37.
Well, way before you were born, I was doing miles and taking bumps in this business. So when I tell guys that now, they go, "What? When?" Oh yeah. So what are we talking about today? The awards?
Yeah. So I mentioned, quite a resume that you have for yourself. So when it comes to awards like this, your opinion is held in high regard. What do you look like when you evaluate? What do you look for when you evaluate talent? Like we just talked about a couple of the nominees. Like, let's go with Wrestler of the Year. What do you think makes, who gets that award? Like, what do you look for that really thinks stands head and shoulders above the rest?
Well, it's drawing money for one thing, but I don't know. I think in WWE now it's drawing ratings. So that's what they got to do. And if I see a guy sight unseen and he goes in the ring and the people kind of respond to him right off the bat without him really having done anything, well, he has what I call chemistry. And you can take and you can create more chemistry with him because he has it naturally. He has it when he goes to the ring. So you can't manufacture it and you can't invent it. You can foster it and nurture it so it comes along. That's what I look like in a new performer, because I've booked a lot of territories where the guy goes to the ring and he's a new guy. I always watch his first or second match just to see how the fans react to him, because fans are the nature of the business. If you don't have the fans coming, buying merchandise, buying tickets, then you don't have a business. And that's why sometimes you'll see a guy, he'll show up and he'll have one match, then you don't see him. And you don't have to think long and hard, especially WWE. Vince didn't like it. He looks at him, and you got about 30 seconds for him to draw a conclusion about you. And a lot of careers have probably been made and destroyed within those 30 seconds. Hard to believe that's the way it works.
It's a very small window to make or break. One of the guys that you get credited with playing an integral role in his career, the Undertaker, obviously wasn't the Undertaker back then, but now he's going into the Hall of Fame. We're talking about current events right now. He's the first 2022 Hall of Fame inductee in WWE. What did you see in him back then? Like, he didn't have the phenom, the gimmick. Like, he was, a young wrestler, like you're talking about. You got to watch his early work. So what did you see in him?
First of all, he's big and he's a great athlete. You can't teach athleticism. You can't teach it. The guy's either got it or he doesn't have it. But I knew with Mark, because he wasn't really good on interviews, but yet there was something about him that I think was marketable. And Vince was the one that found it. When he invented the Undertaker gimmick, and the rumor has it that Vince invented that character in an image of himself, because he can't die, he can't be hurt, he's unfeeling, he has, and that's why I'll even before Undertaker lost his WrestleMania run, when he was 20-0, was it 20-0, and then he became 20-1 or
22?
I don't know what it was.
21.
Okay, I didn't ever think he'd get beat, because I didn't think Vince's I don't think his ego would allow him to get beat, but he did. So, which showed me a thing or two about Vince. But he was actually a very good performer in the ring. He was quick. He was fast. Plus, he was a legitimate tough guy. So, and he didn't get in the dressing room and run his mouth and talk a lot. And, you know, sometimes keeping your mouth shut will help you more than anything else. So, but I brought him in and he did well. So, and then the rest is history.
That's a really interesting perspective, you know, talking about how if he molded this character in his own image, having him seem vulnerable, you know, that's a really interesting thing to think about in that way.
You've never heard that?
No.
Really?
No.
Well,
especially not how you're saying how, you know, you wouldn't think he would allow that guy to lose too.
Well, we were in WCW together, and he was, I think, Mean Mark Calaway. I think that's what he was. And he always, of course, you know, a wrestler coming up back in those days, he had his sights set on one company, and that was WWE. And he went to WCW, but before he went there, he said, should I try to go to WWE? And I told him, I said, for what it's worth, you can listen to me or not, I would go to WCW first. Because now you're going to have Vince get a good look at you, because he'll be watching that TV. And he'll be looking out for future talent, because he know he could just reach in and snatch out whoever he wanted, basically. So let him get a look at you, let him think about it for a while, and then let him call you. So we were in Atlanta one day, and we were going somewhere, and he said, I'm going to go talk to Vince. I said, where? He didn't go to Stanford. He went to Boca Raton, Florida. Vince's summer house, I guess. And he went down there to talk to him. And I said, that's already an encouraging sign already that you're going there. And he went in and they talked today. And then next thing you know, he was there as the Undertaker. I don't know what pay-per-view he debuted on. Was it SummerSlam or
Survivor Series 1990? But I think he might have done like a TV before that, or like a dark match. But Survivor Series was the TV debut.
I can't remember, but I do remember on that pay-per-view, I think he wrestled Dusty. I remember. Mm-hmm. You remember that? I may be wrong.
I think that was the other team. Yeah, he was the captain.
Hell, I can't remember last week. I don't know, but it was a single match, and I think it was. But he won the match, and like I said, rest is history.
So we're talking about his early career. I kind of want to go back to the awards a little bit. The Rookie of the Year category. You have Braun Breaker, NXT champion, Tony D'Angelo from NXT, Hook, who's AEW, he's Taz's son, Jade Cargill, the TBS champion, and NXT's Cora Jade. Which one of those would you say is your Rookie of the Year, and what stands out most about them?
Okay, you got Breaker, and you got Hook, and you got Cargill. What's the other two?
Tony D'Angelo and Cora Jade.
Okay. I'm going to go with Hook. Because he's got the look. Mm-hmm. Here's a kid that's never said one word on TV, has he?
No.
And he walks out and the people stand out. How old is he? About 18, 19?
I think he might be 21.
Okay, well, anyway, he's got that hair going. He looks like he don't give a crap. So when he'll get hot is when he has some heels that have some heat on him, and they beat the crap out of him. Mm-hmm. That's when he'll get hot. Because now, you know, I mean, you can beat some guys up till the cows come home. Nobody gives a crap. But if they care, if they care about the guy that's getting beat up, all that heat would relate to the heels, and they'll have a hot little run.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pick Hook. I'm gonna pick Hook as Rookie of the Year.
I like it. I I went with Jade Cargill. I think just because of the resume, how many wins she has, and she's holding a title. But I'm not gonna, I think you put up a solid argument for Hook. He's got the intangibles, and I think he's got a lot of potential. I think people are going to get behind him in the long run.
Take it back to what I said before: chemistry. He got the chemistry with the fans. I love the hair, and he just looks at you like, what? And he'd be a great heel. Like you want to slap him already. And if he affects you that way, he's got chemistry, or he does with me anyway.
So, one other guy that you had chemistry with, Cesaro. You worked with him in WWE.
Yep.
Just found out that he left. Where he ends up remains to be seen. What'd you learn most about working with him? Two-part question. What did you learn most about working with him, and what intangible, like, what do you think he can help another promotion with most right now with his skill set?
I don't know how old he is, but I think his tenure in WWE was more or less wasteful, because he let a super talented guy that speaks 5 languages, especially in Europe. I mean, he would be, you couldn't put a worth on him in Europe. He speaks German, French. I think he speaks Dutch, Spanish, English, and maybe one more. Mm-hmm. So, and he's a great, probably the strongest guy in WWE. And I don't know why they never got behind him. See, now when he went on TV in WWE, you automatically thought that he was going to be the one getting beat, because they did it to him way too much. And I think he kind of got hot when he was with me and Swagger, because we brought him over and he got heated up. And I thought that was the idea of putting him with me, is to heat him up. But they didn't even let that set before they took him and gave him to Heyman, and then he died again. See, I would have thought if they put him with me and Jack before we split, we'd have had me and Jack would have turned on him and got something out of it. We got zero out of it. So, and I can voice my concerns as much as I want. They're not going to change your mind. Yeah. I mean, they could if they wanted to. They just didn't do it. So I think his time with us, I think we helped him more than he helped us. But when he got there, those guys were over. When they go out on the floor, and I heard those fans firsthand every night, they were up for these guys. We were in one of the dark matches at WrestleMania 30, and it was a 4-team elimination match, which I kind of hate. But they worked it out. And the fans, Jack and Cesaro, we were heels, but we were getting more than the Usos were getting. Cheers. And I forgot who went out first. Then it was down to 3 teams. And then Jack and Cesaro, they got. And then when we was walking up the ramp, I turned to Jack and Cesaro and I said, "You hear that?" They said, "Hear what?" I said, "Exactly. You don't hear anything. You know why?" And they went, "Why?" I said, "Because we're out of the match. They wanted us to win it. Now we've sucked the air out of the building, and now they didn't care."
Yeah.
And I think that both those guys learned something that day. Because if you take away hope, you don't have nothing. And I think when they yanked those guys out of that match at that point, people didn't give a crap who won then. Here's another little thing. We were against the Usos on Raw one Monday night, and this has never happened to me before. And it was scheduled for Jack and Cesaro to beat the Usos. And all of a sudden, another finish popped up. The Usos beat Jack. I forgot who they beat. I think they beat Jack. And I'm standing outside. I'm saying, "What the hell happened?" They said, they changed the finish on us. I said, "When?" They said, "In the middle of the match." I've never heard of that happen, ever. They changed the match, the finish, in the middle of the match. I said, well, been this business, like you said, almost 50 years. Never heard that before.
Yeah.
But it happened. I said, well, damn, okay. I mean, I just worked there. They did too. So they say, change it. Okay, we'll change it.
Yeah.
So we changed it. Surprised me.
Well, I mean, normally you talk about having a first or still being excited or surprised in your respective career is a good thing, but that obviously wasn't.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't a bad thing. I mean, it wasn't that important. But it just never happened before. It's just never happened before.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure finishes have been changed, but because of an injury or because of something else, but never just because Vince, I don't like this, change it. Cut this all over. God damn it.
Spot on impression.
And I come back and there was Vince sitting over there, and he went, I don't know why he did that. He just wanted to change it. So, but that was the first in my career.
Well, I don't really know how to explain that or why, talking about Cesaro, like why they never did. Maybe it goes back to what you said about seeing something in 30 seconds and making up their mind right there. But
he had been there up to that point 4 years. Then.
Yeah.
Maybe it seemed like he could make your mind up in 4 years what you want to do.
Yeah.
I always thought they ought to give him a 007 spy gimmick because he looked like him.
Absolutely.
And he may have played some of that spy music and he would have got over properly. Because his work speaks for itself.
They did a little bit for a brief time. They had the video had like the little white circles come across the screen, but that didn't stay very long. But
they just couldn't make their mind up on the guy. Now, where he's going to go now, I don't know. AEW, maybe. But hey, AEW can only sign so many people. See, the ones they've already signed is now you don't hardly ever see them. And I guess he's just warehousing them for what? I don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a crazy business. You can't figure it out. You can just sit back and say, well, I think this, that, the other, but you're along with a million other people doing the same thing. And nobody is really right. Hell, Vince don't even know what he's going to do. See, I've gone to buildings before, Raw, and usually start about, I guess, 7:30, because you get two, like what they call dark matches in, and they save them for maybe some syndicated show they run, and it's an off show anyway. And then when you get started, but I haven't gotten there, and you usually get all your instructions about, I don't know, 4 o'clock. So you got time to get ready and everything's planned out. I've seen them at 4 o'clock back in the writer's room rewriting the whole show, the entire show. So at 4 o'clock, and all of a sudden they've had 7 days to get this show down. All of a sudden Vince gets a hair up his butt. He doesn't like it all of a sudden because they meet the night before and everything. I've heard this. Vince was fine last night. And they said he got him up at like 3 o'clock. All the writers come to his room. And you imagine writing, and all of a sudden you get a call. Vince wants to see everybody in the room right now. Why? It's 3 o'clock. I don't care. You better get up there. And they go up there, and he starts raising hell. Then he says, but then they don't get it straightened out. So nobody gets a good night of rest. Nobody. And then you're rewriting, and at 4 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
So go figure. And you wonder why it's messed up sometimes.
I mean, bringing things to a close here. It's something that you get to talk about every week. SportsKeeda, you do Smack Talk. Yep. You can catch Dutch Friday nights. Usually Rick's on. Sid has a rotating team of people. Anywhere else people can catch you if they wanted to see what you're up to now?
No,
No.
I just don't do nothing. I just sit around and read the news and talk about Ukraine and all the wars that are going on. So yeah, you can find me on Facebook. I've been trying to get this damn. I've had a website that I've had for like 4 years.
Mm.
Still can't get it to work right. I wish somebody would just call me and say, "Let me handle your website." So, I mean, I don't think the moon landing was as hard as trying to get this website up. God. So he gets up and all of a sudden, click, bang, it's gone again.
I'm
And after
sorry.
a while, I just kind of give up on it. I don't care.
Well, I'm sorry to hear you're having so much trouble with that, but
it's Dutch Mantell on Facebook, and it's Dirty D Mantell on Twitter.
And catch you every week.
And I'm having a hard time getting verified. I don't know. I think Twitter was clamped down on their verification for some reason.
I don't think they check it. I think it's automated. It's hit or miss, so you're not the only one.
So I just quit messing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna get me a new handle, and because Dirty Dutch Mantell doesn't work anymore. Hell, that was copyrighted like 20 years ago. Somebody stole it from me. Now, since they stole it, now I can't get it. Even if I have grandfather rights to it. No, can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's a mess. I don't even worry about it anymore.
Mm.
So
hopefully
let's get to these awards so I can tell you why I voted the way I did.
Hopefully your tech issues get worked out, but I'll work myself into a cheap plug here. The SportsKeeda Wrestling Awards are up and running. SportsKeeda.com/wrestling-awards. Let's see. I went through rookie. All right, we did. Let's do male wrestler of the year to close things out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
the male wrestler, I think I'm gonna go with Roman, and not because he's so better than anybody else. It's because they stayed with the story.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed with Roman's story for 2 years. That's a massive amount of time for WWE to stay with the story.
Yeah.
But you know his story. He doesn't drop the belt every other week or work some wild finish, because he's been the champion for over 2 years, right? Almost.
Closing in on it. It's 550 days, I think now.
Yeah, something.
Oh, it's up.
But
there.
I think you got to give him male wrestler of the year.
Yeah.
And somebody can say, well, Bryan Danielson, just because of his work. Yeah, he's a great technician in that ring, but nothing takes the place of story. Hulk Hogan didn't know a damn arm lock from a wristwatch. But the people, he just sold tickets. That's all he did. And that's how he got over. And if you really think about how Hulk got over, you never saw him wrestle on TV. Hardly ever did you see him on TV. You see him on a pay-per-view and see him on a special. But you didn't see him like guys now. Like you see Roman every week. You see Bryan. Well, I don't know if you see Bryan Danielson every week, but you see Roman every week. So just to think that he has maintained him being over for 2 years with him being on free TV every week, it's hard to conceive and hard to believe, but he's done it. And the girl, I don't know. I'm kind of a tie. I think I'm gonna have to go with Becky Lynch. I think, because when she came back, she was like people liked her. Then she turned heel, and she's having problems with being a heel because the people don't want her there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how long WWE will go with that, because they've gone against the grain before. They've been going against the grain with Roman Reigns ever since he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think they got him in a spot. So I think I surprised Sid and Rick one time, and I said, you know what's wrong with SmackDown? And you will have to agree with this. They have no bench.
Mm-hmm.
They have no go-to guy. If something happened to Roman, what would they do? They don't know.
No.
And you don't know, and I don't know. But they put so much equity into Roman Reigns that the closest one to him is Drew McIntyre, but he doesn't have anything like Roman has.
Yeah. For everything it did for him, he's getting the accolades. 500+ day title reign. We're talking about wrestler of the year. The flip side of it is who can kind of carry the ball in his place if needed. So,
well, it's like you got a starting quarterback. When that quarterback goes down, team goes down.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that 100 times.
Yeah.
If that quarterback is not there running that team, and the quarterback in football, he's the game manager. He has to manage the game, watch the clock. He's a coach on the field, and if he goes down, you put another guy in there. All of a sudden, he goes in the middle of the game and he's lost.
Yeah.
He may bring them back, but most likely that they'll lose that game or not do as well as they could with the starter. So that's my view on it.
Yeah, I think those points highlight how valuable he is to the show. SportsKeeda.com Wrestling Awards. Check out Dutch Smack Talk every week. Go and vote. Thanks for your time today. I enjoyed getting a chance to catch up with you, talk some current events, and relive the past year. Have a good afternoon. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you later.